for Genesis 11, verse 3, Kumt and Bazik, and for verse 11, Kumt, Bazik, and verse 32, Thun Nazura, and Kmetz means grasping with the hand. Bazik is with the brand of fire or something like that. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar. And they dwelt there, and they said one to another, Go, let us make bricks, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, Go to, let us build a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And God as noun and verb came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men builded. Remember, a lot of these stories come from earlier myths, because isn't Yahweh supposed to be omnipresent? Certainly the term implies it, both in its Aramea and in its ancient Egyptian roots. And God as a noun and verb said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they began to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. And at this time, there's probably thousands of languages. So God as noun and verb scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because God as noun and verb did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did God as noun and verb scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. Now, there were probably less language groupings, or you could understand better within the language groupings, but these are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and begat Arpachshad 2 years after the flood. Now it's thought that of the 1,000 or a couple thousand Native American languages, when they were colonized, they found, it seems like about 95% of them are what a language that can be called Abrika or something like that, that they all kind of stem from the same language. I've heard it called Abrika in some sources, and Shem lived after he begat Arpachshad 500 years, and begat sons and daughters, and Arpachshad lived 35 years, and begat Shelah. And Arpachshad lived after he begat Shelah 403 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Shelah lived 30 years, and begat Eber. And Shelah lived after he begat Eber 403 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Eber lived 34 years, and begat Peleg. And Eber lived after he begat Peleg 430 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Peleg lived 30 years, and begat Ru. And Peleg lived after he begat Ru 209 years and begat sons and daughters. And Ru lived 230 years and begat Serug. And Ru lived after he begat Serug 207 years and begat sons and daughters. And Serug lived 30 years and begat Nahor. And Serug lived after he begat Nahor 200 years and begat sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 29 years and begat Terah. And Nahor lived after he begat Terah 119 years and begat sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years and begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Now these are the generations of Terah, and Terah begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran begat Lot. And Haran died in the presence of his father Terah in the land of his nativity, in Ur of the Chaldees. And Abram and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife, Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and the father of Iscah. But Sarai was barren, she had no child. And Terah took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran his son's wife, and Sarah his daughter-in-law, and his son Abram's wife, and they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan. And they came into Haran and dwelt there, and the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. And the Haftarah refers us to Isaiah 54, verse 1 through 11. And, chapter 12 will start what used to be called the third section, so the chapter divisions are a lot different. Lek. And what's that? Remember that these, a particular year is pointed at by all these biblical dates. And also all these things, they mean something else. And the word for year, as we've shown, means something else. And if you look at the names, and if you look at not the Hebrew gematria, because you want to use the language of Tanakh here, but there's some switching of number values, as we will see later on. And I'm not sure I'm going to remember all that stuff, but I'm just going to throw in some comment with what I do here. Wihi kul hearts. Shpa acht. Woodbream. Achtim. Wihi. Bun sam. Maktam. We. Matzau. Bakah. Barts. Shinar. We. Shabu. Shum. Weamru. Aish. Al. Ra. Hu. Habah. Nil. Banah. Lebanim. One. Sherpa. The Sherpa. Wadhi. Laham. Hul. Banah. Laban. Wah. Chimmer. Hya. Laham. Lichmer. Weamru. Haba. Nibna. Lanu. Ayer. Wamgadal. Rashu. Bushmoon. Wan Asha. Lanu Sham. Pun. Naputs. Al Pani. Kill hearts. Weird. Yahweh. Drat. At. Hagyar. Wat. Hamgadol. Asher. Benu. Beni. Hatam. Weamer. Yahweh. Han Am. Achid. Wichpa. Acht. Luklam, Sa, Hutchlam, Lashut, Wata, La, Ibtser, Maham, Kul Asher, Yazmu, Lashut, Haba, Nerda, Wan, Blah, Shum, Shuptum, Asher, La, Yishmau, Aish, Shupt, Rahu, Weepats, Yahweh, Atam, Musham, Alpani, Kul Hearts, Weechtlu, Libnut, Hayer, Alkan, Gra, Shema, Babel, Ki, Shem, Belal, Yahweh, Shupt, Kul Hearts, Wum, Shem, Hapitam, Yahweh, Alpani, Kul Hearts, Al, Tu, Ladit, Shem, Ben, Mat, Shna, Weulad, At, Arbukshad, Shantim, Atcher, Hambol, Wichi, Shem, Atri, Hulidu, At, Arbukshad, Chemish, Mount, Shna, Weulad, Benim, Wabnut, War, Pukshad, Chi, Chemish, Wush, Lashim, Shana, Weulad, At, Shulch, Wichi, Ar, Pukshad, Atri, Hulidu, At, Shulch, Shanim, Warba, Mount, Shana, Weulad, Benim, Wabnut, Wishlich, Chi, Shulshim, Shana, Weulad, At, Aber, Wichi, Shulch, Atri, Hulidu, At, Aber, Shulsh, Shanim, Warba, Mount, Shna, Weulad, Benim, Wabnut, Wichi, Aber, Arba, Wush, Lashim, Shana, Weulad, At, Pulg, Wichi, Aber, Atri, Hulidu, At, Pulg, Shulshim, Shana, Warba, Mount, Shana, Weulad, Benim, Wabnut, Wichi, Pulg, Shulshim, Shana, Weulad, At, Rau, Wichi, Pulg, Atri, Hulidu, At, Rau, Tasha, Shanim, Wamatim, Shana, Weulad, Benim, Wabnut, Wichi, Rau, Shatim, Wash, Lashim, Shana, Weulad, At, Shrug, Wichi, Rau, Atri, Hu, Lidu, At, Shru, Shaba, Shanim, Wamatim, Shana, Weulad, Benim, Wabnut, Wichi, Shrug, Shulshim, Shana, Weulad, At, Nachur, Wichi, Shrug, Atri, Hulidu, At, Nachur, Matim, Shana, Weulad, Benim, Wibnut, Wichi, Natur, Tisha, Washrim, Shana, Wiwlid, At, Turch, Wichi, Natur, Atri, Hulidu, At, Turch, Tisha, Ashra, Shana, Wamat, Shna, Wiwlad, Benim, Wibnut, Wichi, Turch, Shabayim, Shana, Wiwlad, At, Abram, At, Natur, Wat, Hern, Wallah, Tuledet, Turch, Hulid, At, Abram, At, Natur, Wat, Hern, Wahran, Hulid, At, Luth, Wimat, Hern, Alpani, Turch, Abu, Bartz, Multu, Bauer, Keshdim. They were called that because they prayed the Kushti. They did prayers 5 times a day, where they had a sacred thread and all that. Wika, Abram, Winchur, Nahum, Nashim, Shem, Asht, Abram, Shri, Wishim, Asht, Nachur, Milka, Bet, Hern, Abi, Milka, Wabi, Yiska, Wadhi, Shri, Akra, Ain, La, Wuld, Wikach, Turch, At, Abram, Benu, Wat, Luth, Ben, Hern, Ben, Benu, Wat, Shri, Kultu, Asht, Abram, Benu, Witse, Atam, Maur, Kishtim, Lalkut, Artza, Canaan, We Bow, Ad, Churn, We Shabu, Shem, We Hu, Yemi, Turch, Chimish, Shanim, Wamatim, Shana, Wimet, Tra, Betrun.